One of the most chaotic lineups you've ever seen. 150 to 200 people out, 4 or 5 people riding the same wave, loads of unpredictable that goes on, calling someone off who's like way too deep, gonna get run over. Scariest, like normal size waves I've ever surfed. With the biggest swell in a decade due to hit California, I decided to go and check out what one of the most iconic waves in the world was like under such conditions. And the results were interesting. So yeah, there you go, the mighty Malibu. Just before we start breaking down the wave, thanks to City Pro app for the filming session. It's a really sick idea that makes it really easy to book a filmer. So if you're based in California and you want some footage, you can check that out via the QR code just here or see the link in the description. First of all, I want to say that the wave at Malibu was actually way better than I thought. I kind of in my head just thought it was like this super mellow longboardy wave, but in conditions like this solid south swell that we had, it was a sick wave, super long and really wally, quite fast at times, but just a really good wave. On this swell, obviously you've heard all the hype about this swell, you know, you saw the wedge, you've seen all the clips of Malibu. It was a really hyped up swell and it had a hell of a lot of energy. So on this day, the waves were maybe double overhead sets that were just these crazy like reeling rights from way up at the top of Malibu all the way down through the pier almost. You know, a lot of people were shooting the pier on this swell. A few people were hitting the pier as well. First time surfing Malibu, and yeah, just paddled out into one of the most chaotic lineups you've ever seen in the world. It's the only place I've ever surfed where there are 4 or 5 people riding the same wave and that's seen as like normal or okay. Even at like snapper or like trestles, you know, that never happens. It just seems to be the only place where that's just the norm. And without exaggeration, there's probably close to 150 to 200 people out in the lineup. So every time there's a set coming through, you've just got this crazy scenario where there's maybe 10 people paddling for each set wave that comes through. 4 or 5 people will take off on it, and everyone's kind of like paddling or like getting up and riding the wave, trying to suss the person on the inside of them out to see like if they falter, see if they're not gonna make a section, or see if they're like not that good or like looking wobbly so they might fall. And you just have that happening several times down the line. So on most set waves on this swell, there's 4 or 5 people just riding the wave. Quite a lot of the time it's like these older guys who have got like a factory's worth of fiberglass under their toes, so they've got this massive board and they can't really turn, but they can like just stand up and like sort of fly down the line. So it's super dangerous, but you just like have to kind of get out of the way. And I feel like quite a lot of those older guys, they're kind of mates, so they kind of just burn each other and that's how they get waves out there. But yeah, when you're paddling out through this and you're inside of where a set's breaking, you've got all these people like riding towards you and more people like on the shoulder trying to like shoulder hop it, and like if they think that someone's not going to make a section, they're trying to get off the end of it. Generally, the standard of surfing was pretty low, so a lot of the time the wave races off and like a lot of the sections were too fast for people to make. So that's something that surprised me with Malibu. It was a way faster wave than I thought. So that's why you see quite a lot of burns, you know, because a lot of people get stuck behind, they don't make it. So the next person takes off, flies along, and then someone else burns them, someone else burns them. It just keeps going on down the line like that. But yeah, when you're paddling out, there's loads of unpredictable shit that goes on as well. So you've got this massive dude on like a huge board, just kind of going straight. You've got someone who's kind of beginner, but they're just surfing it because it's Malibu and they're just going like straight towards you. You've got someone trying to rip on the inside of them. Then you've got like another sort of like average or normal surfer who's like just about making takeoff, wobbling to their feet. You've got someone who's like calling someone off who's like way too deep. And yeah, and then you're just paddling out going, shit, I'm gonna get run over. It's like the scariest, like normal size waves I've ever surfed. So yeah, on this swell, you had such a mix of surfing abilities because it's probably one of the better places you could surf because everywhere else was really solid. And Malibu like seems to handle the swell really well. So many people were surfing, you know, a lot of like famous faces out there as well. So yeah, in terms of safety, it's not the safest wave you'll ever surf, that's for sure. The people who are surfing really well can basically make the really fast waves that normal people can't make. So a lot of people out there ripping and getting a lot of waves. I mean, it's quite hard. I couldn't really tell who was like local or who wasn't local out there. I guess there are a few people who live closer to the wave and they seem to be getting waves. Yeah, I guess people from all over LA or California were surfing it on that day, so you couldn't really tell. While for the most part, loads of people were just like burning each other over and over and over again. Some people were like taking off really deep and just flying down the line, doing these massive high lines. Remember this one guy was like going so fast on this like little 20 and just going, screaming as he was going down the line, just going, fuck off, fuck off, and just pumping and bumping, and like he was left alone. So I think maybe that's the way to get waves, if you're like a bigger person, just scream at everyone and go really fast. And yeah, you've got loads of other stuff as well. People are like shoving people off waves. So you have one person burning someone who's like shoving the person off in front of them, but they're also burning someone. So it's just like this crazy shit show as you go down the line. While it's all good if you're just standing there and you just want to catch waves and just ride along and just go along, that's fine because you can do that with multiple people on the wave. But if you're actually trying to rip and do turns, it's just pointless. Like, as you saw in the clips there, you basically didn't see me on any of the sets. I was more hunting the insiders because I wanted to actually try and surf the wave properly. If you got a set, I think I got 1 or 2 sets that I don't think the filmer caught them, but I basically just took off and just like so many people on like big boards just burnt me. So it was just pointless. But on the inside, on the smaller ones that sometimes went down the line and like grew, you've got more of a chance of getting the wave to yourself. But even so, that doesn't always happen. For the most part, as you saw, I was just picking off scraps. But when the swell is that big and the waves are that good, the scraps are still pretty good. You can sometimes take off on these little double ups that grow down the line, and you've got like real fast little sections that then slow up, so you do nice carves or just like race through these sections. So the wave was really sick. It's kind of broken down into 2 or 3 different areas. You've got third point at the very top, which seems to generally be like a separate wave. You're not really taking off from the top of third point and riding all the way through. Sometimes, I guess it depends on the angle the wave comes in, but sometimes you can make it from way deeper up there. Through this sort of middle section here, it gets a lot faster, so for most of the time you can't really make it through there. Some of them do. The ones that don't have as much water, you can kind of go through there. A few people are doing that who know the wave like a lot better than me. But then I think like the juiciest part is inside this bit here where it like doubles up and runs through onto Surfrider Beach, like before you get to the pier. Kind of that little section there on that corner, it kind of seems to steepen up and be really fun, really rippable, and then it like slows up and gets a bit fatter like at the end. Having surfed it now and experienced it in a few different conditions, you can really tell why this was like the OG surfing spot, you know, because it was it's just such a perfect wave. So thank you to the M Hotel in Malibu for my stay and for sponsoring this video. It's a really sick motel just down the road from Surfrider Beach. It'll take you about 5 minutes to walk to the waves. It just puts you in the perfect spot to go and get a few waves or just go and experience the spectacle of the place. Rooms are super clean and spacious, good Wi-Fi, just nice little environment to relax in and retreat to after a hectic day at Malibu. Thoroughly enjoyed my time there, and I'll leave the link in the description where you can check that out. So yeah, some sections were super sectiony where it just seems to like zip away from you, like over the cobbles. It's just spinning over these cobbles and going really fast, but then others are a lot slower. So yeah, it had lots of different waves within it. Like some that were just you could race down the line, high line the whole time, but others that allowed you to sort of turn a little bit more. The really good guys were kind of doing turns on the fast ones. I wasn't doing that. So yeah, on the bigger days, it's a lot more rippable than it was on the smaller days. Bigger days, it's way wallier and down the line. On the smaller days that I surfed it, kind of once that swell had subsided, it wasn't as good a wave. You know, it's perfect if you're on a log and you can catch waves really easily. If you're on a log, obviously you've got more paddle power. But in terms of shortboarding, while there are still like shortboardable waves that come through, it's quite hard to get them because the crowd becomes more condensed in a smaller area. There are less waves to go round, so it's really hard to get waves off the loggers. When it was smaller, I did go a little bit further up the point and tried to get them from deeper, and got a few sets that did sort of peel through all the way through first point, and yeah, had a few fun surfs. When you're walking out, you walk over all of these cobbles and they're super slippery. So sometimes your first couple of waves, you're really like unsteady on your feet because you're sliding around a little bit. So it's a really good idea to rub a little bit of wax on the tops of your feet just so you can rub them together when you get in the water. And it doesn't always work, but it can help you be a bit less slippery on your first few waves. Or you can just chuck like a slither of wax in your wetty somewhere and yeah, like re-wax up when you get there. I had loads of other fun little surfs as well when it was less hectic, but the waves weren't as good, and it was still really, really crowded. But compared to those couple of days where it was that massive south swell, it was a little bit more mellow and just a bit more of a normal crowd, I suppose. But during those swells, it is a spectacle. I mean, if you don't like crowds, it's probably better just to stay on the beach and just watch the chaos go down. When you're in a lineup like that, it's just like mentally exhausting because as soon as you're in the lineup, you're just like on high alert mode. You're just watching every single wave to obviously not get run over, but then you're trying to put yourself in position to try and get one. You're kind of looking at how people are paddling on the inside of you. Okay, maybe they're not going to catch it. Okay, they fell off on their last wave. Okay, they just snaked me. Okay, this person's paddling really aggressive towards me. Okay, and then you're just in your head the whole time. It's just exhausting. So yeah, after a few days of that, I was pretty tired. So it was nice once the swell subsided to just go and surf like some normal waves. I quite like the vibe of the beach. So the vibe at the beach, you've got all these old boys who are just like sat there all day, just pointing and talking about the waves, and loads of families and people just hanging out on the sand. You've got the iconic wall at the back where everyone puts their logs like leaning up. I don't know if that's actually practical for storing a 9-foot log, or they just kind of do it like for the sake of it. I've never seen so many cameras at a beach as during that south swell. There's probably just like 20 or 30 different filmers all just pointing at the action. So yeah, it's quite hectic, but pretty cool vibe. On more normal swells, just on your typical day, it's similar, but just a way more relaxed vibe. So it's pretty cool to just go and hang out and chill down there. If there's a swell, getting parked is basically impossible. On this big south swell, all the car parks and all the roadside parking was packed full. No chance of a spot from like 4:30 a.m. because it seemed like every surfer in California was surfing at Malibu. That's why it was sick when I stayed at the motel. I could just park there and just walk down, so that was one of the big advantages of that. So yeah, that's my breakdown and summary of Malibu. Obviously it's so hectic. I know a lot of you guys watching are from this area or from California, so you guys will know firsthand how hectic and how funny it is. Yeah, you guys let me know of your experiences surfing it. I met quite a few of you surfing during that swell. But yeah, it's just one of them where you just kind of go in there expecting it to be like that, so it's not as frustrating as if you go to like Indo or somewhere and it's like a bit more crowded than you think. But there you just expect it, so you just have to go in and like get amongst the madness. And if you do get one, the wave's really, really good, so it is worth it. But if you don't like crowds, it's just like not the one, is it? I feel like I can go and like get amongst it for a few days, but after that I've got to then just go and surf like a normal beach break just to relax and get out of that like mindset. I'm also going to do a deep dive on the history of Malibu, so please stay tuned for that. Meanwhile, check out a few of these videos up here. For now, it's goodbye from me, and I'll see you in the next episode.